We, as you know, have from the very first days of the revolution, we have announced we are independent, non-aligned Islamic country. And then we will continue to be non-aligned. And of course, if the Soviet limited contingents are here in Afghanistan, that is our right, the right of an independent country, every independent country actually. Whenever it sees some threat to its independence, sovereignty and territorial integrity, it has the right actually to ask its friends for some sort of assistance. And we did that. And that also, according to the treaty, which we had signed already with the Soviet Union on 5th December 1978, namely the Treaty of Friendship, Good Neighborliness and Cooperation.
If the Soviet troops left now, how could your government possibly survive?
Why? Well, we have our own army, we have our own party, we have our own soldiers of revolution, we have also the groups of the people cooperating with the government against these counter-revolutionary elements.
But how much?
All means at our disposals. But of course, the only problem which we still have is that probably at this stage it is difficult for us actually to encounter the external threat. And that is why they are here.
The Tsar, or April Revolution of 1978, was the start of the latest chapter in Afghanistan's turbulent history. Before then, the monarchy had controlled Kabul, but it had little influence over the provinces, which were largely feudal and self-governing. Nur Muhammad Taraki, the man who seized power, was a frequent and honoured guest in Moscow. He visited the Kremlin with official delegations, and soon, in Afghanistan, was setting in motion an ambitious program of land reform. He tried to impose a Soviet-style system on feudal communities which were deeply conservative and traditionally hostile to outside interference. The delight of some of the peasantry was matched by continual wranglings about the pace of change and fierce divisions within the ruling party. In 1979, Taraki died in circumstances which were never explained, and Taraki's foreign minister, Hafizullah Amin, the champion of one of the factions, seized power himself. President Amin accelerated the Soviet-style reforms in Afghanistan, and some, including the Russians, felt that he was too ruthless and was going ahead too fast. But Amin never lacked confidence. In Kabul's film archives, we've discovered a unique documentary which the president actually made himself. It glorifies his own role in the original coup in 1978. The film starts with a reconstruction of President Amin's version of how he came to be arrested. He's visited by the police, who unfortunately catch him red-handed in the act of trying to hide some secret papers. They're forced to take possession of the documents themselves. But before the president is separated from his family and hauled away to prison, he's allowed to give some housekeeping money to his wife. What the film does not explain is how the president managed to organize the revolution while still in custody. He's depicted giving orders for the attack from a cell with a telephone. Eventually, he emerges victorious, brandishing his handcuffs on the top of a tank. These sequences are now used by the present regime to discredit Amin, whom they say was a CIA agent. President Amin had only been in power for 3 months when he himself was toppled. How he died on his way from the old presidential palace in Kabul, the People's House, has never been fully revealed. It's been claimed in the West that the Kremlin was alarmed by his performance and, in desperation, ordered that he should be murdered. The Russians invaded, and when order had been restored, so the theory goes, brought in the more flexible Babrak Karmal.
How did President Amin die?
Well,
I've explained to you that the sound forces of our party, government, Revolutionary Council, the majority, determined to crush the regime of Amin in his bond. And in this way, legally approved by the Revolutionary Council, that Amin must to be in court, in revolutionary court, sentenced to death.
How did he die?
Well, I was not in the time of dying of him, but sentenced to death legally.
In the 1950s, Babrak Karmal, the son of an Afghan army general, was the leader of an insignificant Marxist party at Kabul University. By 1979, his energies and skills at political intrigue were rewarded with the highest post in the revolution. Through the party-controlled press and television, he was presented to the people as the champion of modernization and unity.
And getting of greater and bigger harvests. At the end of the session, the President of the Revolutionary Council embraces the toiling peasants, which depicts the deep link between the peasants and the revolutionary government.
Babrak Karmal has been a frequent visitor to the Kremlin, where he's long been cultivated by the Soviet leadership. He's responded, it seems, by being more receptive than his predecessors to Russian advice. This close relationship was emphasized only last December when he was allowed to present President Brezhnev with Afghanistan's highest revolutionary honor, the Son of Freedom Medal. The ceremony, which took place in the Kremlin, included the inevitable congratulatory speeches. It was filmed by Soviet television, who were also allowed to record President Brezhnev's reply.
Дорогой товарищ Кармат, я искренне тронут решением Центрального комитета Народно-демократической партии Афганистана.
We are ready to discuss politically solve about around Afghanistan with Pakistan, with Iran, and a very flexible policy, peaceful policy we have proposed. But there is American, United States imperialist hegemonies and reaction, and Pakistan, they don't want to go back the military contingent, limited contingent military of Soviet Union from Afghanistan, because they want to have a pretext against anti-Soviet Union. That is very clear.
If it is true that you do have a strong army and that most of the people in Afghanistan support your revolution, why is it that we are not even allowed to leave the capital?
Soviet. From where you think that we have not permission to go from the Kabul outside?
That we are not able to leave this capital?
Do you know, in the revolutionary time, for some times, because of the minimum we don't want to risk, because of the security, minimum. That is, even Ashraf, you think maybe against you, some terrorist camp. This is a idiot.
This is just precautionary.
Precaution for time being.
We would like to go to the second and third largest cities in your country, which in the West are said to be controlled by the Mujahideen.
Well, Mujahideen, it is created by the Reagan administrations. There is no, we say, anti-revolution bandits.
But do you control those two cities?
What? Completely under control. All cities. The majority of the territory of Afghanistan is under the control of the government.
You control all Afghanistan?
Yeah, this is a process. This process. Do you know it's revolution? You speak like this that you not studied about revolution. In revolution time, there come sometimes like these difficulties. It is nature for a revolution.
But we are told that we cannot leave your capital.
We live in revolutionary situation. There is some difficulties, natural, but our government, our party, and the National Fatherland Front, our people are going in very good process to normalize the country. But it is reaction, empirism, hegemonism, that they put difficulties, hindrance to normalize the country. This is the fact. You agree or not agree, but it is hard fact.